They say Christmas is the season of joy, when laughter fills every room and families come together beneath the glow of warm lights. But for one family, on a quiet winter morning in 1929, Christmas wasn't a celebration. It was a massacre. This is the true story of the Lawsons, a family whose holiday portrait became their funeral photograph. The year was 1929. The place, Germantown, North Carolina, a small farming town surrounded by rolling fields of tobacco and pine. Here life was simple: hard work, church on Sundays, supper at 6. And in the middle of it all was Charlie Lawson, a husband, a father of 7, a man everyone described as steady, quiet, devoted. His wife, Fanny, was gentle, the kind who never raised her voice. Their eldest daughter, Marie, 17, helped with the younger ones: Arthur, Carrie, Mabel, Raymond, James, and little Mary Lou, the baby of the family. They weren't rich, but that winter, Charlie decided he wanted something special. He told his neighbors he'd been saving for a surprise. A few days before Christmas, he took the whole family into town, bought them brand new clothes, and led them into a photo studio. The camera clicked, 8 faces frozen in time, smiling, proud. No one knew that within a week, those same faces would be staring up from newspaper headlines. Beneath the words Christmas Day Slaughter, Christmas Morning, frost on the windows, smoke curling from the chimney. Inside, the Lawsons were wrapping presents, laughing softly, and preparing for the meal. Neighbors later recalled the sounds of children running through the yard. It was, by all appearances, the perfect morning. But inside Charlie Lawson's mind, something had broken. For weeks, he'd been different, restless, distracted. He complained of headaches, sharp, splitting pain behind his eyes. Some said he'd suffered a head injury months before. Others whispered about debt, or something darker. Whatever it was, it had been building silently until that morning when something in him finally snapped. A neighbor, feeding his livestock, heard it first. Then another. He thought it was hunters, until he saw Charlie walking through the field, shotgun in hand, his face expressionless. What happened next was methodical, cold. Charlie found his daughters Carrie and Mabel near the barn. He raised his gun and fired. When their bodies fell to the frost, he dragged them into the barn and crossed their hands neatly, like sleeping children. Then he turned toward the house. Inside, Fanny was baking. She looked up, startled, as Charlie stepped through the doorway. There was no warning, just another blast, and the thud of a body hitting the floorboards. The children screamed. He moved room to room, relentless. Raymond and James tried to hide behind the Christmas tree. Marie, his eldest, barely had time to plead. And in the nursery, baby Mary Lou began to cry. Neighbors would later say they heard one last shot, smaller, muffled. Then nothing. When it was over, the house fell silent. The gifts beneath the tree remained unopened. The fire in the hearth burned low. And in the snow outside, Charlie's boot prints led away from the door. It was Arthur, 16 years old, who returned home first. Charlie had sent him on an errand before the killing began, sparing him by chance or by plan. Arthur saw the stillness of the house, the door slightly ajar. He called out. No answer. Then he stepped inside. The smell of gunpowder lingered. A pot still simmered on the stove, and on the kitchen floor lay his mother. He ran, shouting for help. When neighbors arrived, the scene inside was unreal. Each body had been laid out carefully, as if for a funeral. Their arms folded, a small rock placed beneath each head, the baby in her crib, still in her tiny white dress. Beside the Christmas tree, a half-eaten cake sat on the table, the one Marie had baked the night before. The icing read, "Merry Christmas." Out in the tobacco barn, they found Charlie. He had turned the gun on himself. A hollow wind blows, wood creaks, silence. No one could understand it. A good man, a good family, gone in a single morning. The sheriff, the preacher, the neighbors, all asked the same question. Why? Some blamed a head injury from months earlier. Others said Charlie feared losing his farm as the Great Depression loomed. But whispers spread, soft, dangerous whispers, that it wasn't madness or money at all. It was sin. Months later, one of Marie's friends came forward. She claimed Marie had confided a secret, one she was too ashamed to tell anyone else. She was pregnant, and the father was her own. If it was true, the meaning behind the murders changed completely. It wasn't just insanity. It was desperation, an attempt to erase his shame forever. No proof ever surfaced, but the rumor stuck. Even now, nearly a century later, the shadow of that possibility clings to the story like smoke. The news spread fast. Front pages screamed the headline, "Christmas Day Family Murders Stun Nation." People came from miles around, drawn by morbid curiosity. And Charlie's brother, desperate for money, saw an opportunity. He turned the Lawson farmhouse into a roadside attraction. 10 cents admission. Visitors filed through the rooms, silent, stepping carefully around the dried stains on the floor. The Christmas cake was still there, the one Marie had made. They placed it under glass, untouched. People said it never spoiled. Year after year, it sat there, frozen in time like the day they died. Some swore they could smell the faint scent of baking sugar and gunpowder when they entered the room. Others said if you listened closely, you could still hear a music box playing somewhere in the house, though no one could ever find it. Soft, distorted music box version of "We Wish You a Merry Christmas." It slows, warps, fades. Time passed, the farm decayed, but the story, it never went away. Locals whispered that on cold December nights, lights flickered inside the abandoned house. Some claimed they saw shadows moving through the windows, small figures darting past the curtains. Others heard laughter, faint and distant, blending with the wind. And that family portrait still exists, hanging behind glass in a small museum in North Carolina. They say if you stare long enough, Charlie's eyes seem to follow you, unblinking, watching. Arthur, the only survivor, never spoke of that morning again. He moved away, tried to start over, but he carried the weight of it always. 20 years later, in 1945, Arthur Lawson died in a sudden car accident. He was just 32. Locals called it fate or punishment. Before his death, he told a friend about a recurring dream. In it, his father would appear, standing in the tobacco barn, shotgun in hand. Charlie would look at him and say, "Come home, boy. It's Christmas." Wind rushes through trees. A door creaks open. Arthur never went home again. But each December, townsfolk claim the old Lawson farm glows faintly from within. A pale, flickering light moving from room to room, as if a family still gathers there, waiting for the father to return. Nearly a century later, the Lawson family murders remain one of America's most haunting true crimes. The motives were never proven. The pain was never understood. Maybe it was guilt, maybe madness, or maybe something darker that lived inside those walls long before the first shot was fired. All that remains now are fragments. A photograph, a cake, a silence that stretches through time. Soft church bells echo, slow and distant. And perhaps the most terrifying part isn't what happened that day, but that no one saw it coming. A father, family, a Christmas morning frozen forever. Proof that the darkest monsters are the ones who smile for the camera. If the first story showed how rage burns, this one shows how it festers, quietly beneath the Christmas lights. And as you wrap your gifts this year, look at the faces around your table, because sometimes the monsters we fear most are sitting right beside us. Every December, people drive for miles to see the lights on Hollis Road. 12 houses in a row, every one glowing. Blue icicles, golden deer, wire angels spreading their wings in the snow. It smells of pine, cocoa, and cold air. But locals know there's one house that never joins the celebration. Number 7. The porch stays dark. The windows shut tight. And if you slow down long enough, sometimes you see movement behind the curtains, like someone's watching the watchers. The year was 2016. Ryan and Elena Wright moved into number 7, looking for peace. A new job, quiet streets, a good place to raise their son, Max. They didn't believe in ghost stories. They just wanted a home. Their first night there, Ryan noticed the power meter spinning out of control, even though every light was off. He went outside, breath fogging in the air, and heard something strange. Faint music coming from the attic. A slow, old recording of Silent Night. When he climbed halfway up the attic stairs, the sound stopped. He laughed nervously. "Old wiring," he said. The next morning, a note had been slid under their front door. "Do not turn on the lights. He follows electricity." Elena thought it was a prank. Ryan tossed it in the trash. That night, he hung a single string of white lights across the porch, just to make the place feel less lonely. At 8:47 p.m., every house on the street went black. Ryan stepped outside. The neighborhood was silent. No wind, no music, nothing. Then he saw it, his lights still glowing, but every bulb had turned blood red. The next day, Elena spoke to the woman next door. Gray hair, trembling hands. When Elena mentioned the note, the woman went pale. "You shouldn't have hung those lights," she said softly. "The man who built that house, he worked for the power company, died on a live line. They say when someone lights that house again, he comes back to finish what he started." Elena smiled politely, pretending it was nonsense. But that night, she unplugged every lamp before bed. For a few nights, nothing happened. Then Ryan woke to find Max sitting on the windowsill, whispering to someone outside. "Who are you talking to, buddy?" he asked. "The man," Max said. "He says the lights are pretty." Ryan frowned. "What man?" "The one in the red hat. He lives in the wires." Soft crackle, like electricity crawling through a wall. Ryan threw open the curtains. Nothing outside, no footprints in the snow, but the streetlight in front of number 7 flickered 3 times and went out. Ryan told himself it was just old wiring, but every night after, he heard faint static when the house went dark, like a voice trying to push through the hum. Ryan teased her for being superstitious. He didn't laugh long. A week before Christmas, Elena woke to the smell of ozone, sharp and metallic. She opened her eyes to see every bulb in the house glowing red. Not warm light, cold, pulsing, mechanical red. Ryan raced to the breaker box. Every switch was off. Then, from the attic, came that same radio Silent Night, faint but clear. And underneath it, a man's voice humming along. Each breath matched the rhythm of the lights flashing through the house. Ryan pulled the cord to the attic stairs. They fell open with a groan. Inside, hundreds of old glass bulbs hung from the rafters, tangled in wires like veins. Every one of them buzzed with faint, crimson light. He smashed a few. The sound stopped instantly. Then, 3 slow, hollow knocks from somewhere deep in the walls. Knock, knock, knock. The next morning, Ryan called an electrician. The man climbed the pole behind the house and yelled down, "This line isn't even connected to the grid." Ryan stared. "Then where does it go?" The electrician pointed downward, straight into the ground. He pulled the fuse to check. Sparks burst from the wires, bright white light exploding like lightning. And for a split second, they saw something clinging to the pole. A figure made of pure electricity, head tilted, jaw hanging open as if screaming without sound. Then it was gone. The electrician climbed down shaking. "I'm done," he muttered, and drove away without collecting payment. Elena wanted to leave that day. Ryan said they couldn't afford it. He promised they'd move in spring, but spring never came for them. That night, the hum returned, louder now, closer. When Ryan unplugged the last cord in the house, he swore he heard a man sigh through the static. By Christmas Eve, Hollis Road looked like something out of a movie. Music, laughter, the glow of thousands of lights bouncing off the snow. Ryan and Elena tried to sleep through the noise. Then, at 8:47 p.m., their living room flickered bright. A single porch light came on, then another. Then every string across the house flared to life. Red, white, green. Burning so bright the snow turned gold. Neighbors cheered. Finally, number 7's joining the show. But no one inside had touched a switch. The crowd's cheer fades. The hum deepens. The music on every car radio cut off. Then a low, metallic voice came through, speaking through every speaker on the block. Power restored. The lights across the street blinked out, one by one, until the entire neighborhood was dark, all except the attic window. Through the frost, they saw movement, a shape of sparks and static watching the crowd below. Then silence. By morning, the lights were gone. No struggle, no footprints in the snow, just the faint smell of ozone and a trail of scorched marks leading from the living room to the breaker box. The handle was fused in the on position. Police searched for days. No trace of the family. Only one clue. In the attic, the old bulbs, all shattered except one, pulsed faintly red once every few seconds, like a heartbeat. Neighbors swore they heard a low hum at dawn, the sound of power lines waking from sleep. A month later, a new family moved in. They said the stories were ridiculous. They even strung lights across the porch to prove it. The moment they plugged them in, every bulb turned red. Then the entire street went dark. When the power company came, they said the transformer had burned itself from the inside out. Number 7 still stands. The windows are boarded now, but the power lines still hum faintly when the wind hits just right. Every December, someone forgets or dares to test the legend. And every Christmas Eve, at exactly 8:47 p.m., the lights blink once, just once, as if something inside is checking the connection. Soft carol, warped and distorted. So if you ever drive down Hollis Road this winter, and you see one house glowing brighter than the rest, don't stop. Don't roll down your window. Keep your engine running, and whatever you do, don't look at the attic. Because on Hollis Road, the power never really goes out. If stories like this make you check your lights before bed, subscribe before they start flickering too.